For those situations that you don't know how you're feeling, and even if you're like, I don't know my feelings, I don't know what I'm feeling in any given moment, you do not need to be emotionally intelligent. You do not need to label, get to the precise emotion to do that. You can ground yourself and feel your emotions without any of the verbiage. And I'm going to show you how. You're listening to the Bear in Mind Podcast, episode 158.
A podcast that breaks it down so you can break the cycle for good. Now, your host, Tara Rama, but you can call her T.
This is a super common problem. You are not alone. We are not really taught anything about feelings. Chances are our parents were not psychologists, and even I would have to say sometimes psychologists can still get up in the head, that's their focus, rather than really allowing somebody to feel, and especially children. But teaching yourself about what you're feeling, there's no need to go out and buy an emotional intelligence book, look up all of the different types of emotions that you could have. Feeling is innately human, and it's within us, and it's a skill to feel. And so I'm going to backtrack for a minute. We don't learn how to feel if we have not been guided through the process, and more so not told. And I don't mean guide through telling, but more so even through allowing and showing. So probably, I know what growing up for me, having emotions, expressing them, allowing them, that was not a thing. I know talking to my friends, a lot of times it was about distractions, and sometimes it was even going and eating food. Sometimes it's trying to avoid the emotion, give them food before something happens. So there's a lot of things that come up whenever we start to show really big emotions when we're a kid. And it's okay. Most parents don't know this, and it doesn't mean anyone's a bad parent. The thing is, it's a skill, and it's a skill that you need to develop over your whole lifetime, and you can start today. So if you've been listening to this podcast and I ask you why do you ask your question, why do you feel angry, or I'm angry because, and you don't even know that you're angry, you don't even know what you're feeling, it's still okay. You don't even know if you're feeling guilt or shame, or if you're feeling bad, or if it's some mild form of anger. The thing is you don't need to be in yelling or in a fit of rage to identify the emotion or some big action. What you really need to do is practice every day, even when there isn't something triggering you, something you feel it physically and you know you're feeling something and you don't know what that feeling is. And this happens to me. A few days ago, I felt off. I felt out of sorts. I didn't know what that feeling was, and I allowed myself to feeling it without even understanding all of the how, what, where, when, all of that. And the most important thing was to allow the feeling. And so practicing this every day, if you can, it does not take a lot of time. Because coming to this point, starting with this point, it's going to allow so many other things. And it's not also, I think it's also not very stressful if you just practice feeling. And you don't need to go down the whole road of getting at everything, getting at the cause. Because guess what? When you practice it and practice it and practice it, your brain gets into this mode, and then you will then know all of the reasons, all of the answers to those questions. Why am I feeling this way? What am I feeling? What's the reason? What's the thought that went with that feeling? All of that naturally comes up. So instead of trying to force it and say, well, okay, I've been reading stuff, I've been listening to this podcast, that is something that will come up and become more clear when you start with the feeling process. And so, as I mentioned in the episode, practicing this every day to get used to feeling your emotions. So I'm going to take a little bit about what I talked in the last episode is about grounding yourself with one body part. And I talk about your feet. So my suggestion is to do this when you have 1 or 2 minutes to yourself every day. Now, if that seems really, really impossible, you can check in right before you go to bed. Check in when you wake up in the morning, when you're brushing your teeth. Plant your feet on the ground and enter in your body. And notice what's happening with your feet. So I talk about this as a way to ground yourself. And all it is it's shutting off your mind and getting you back into your body, because feelings, emotions are happening in your body. They are vibrations that are going through your body, and they need to process that out. They need to exit out for the feeling to pass. So you're not kind of stuck in a feeling, like stuck in shame or guilt. And I don't want you to ask what the feeling is. I want you to describe what you feel on your feet. And the first time you do this, it might be like, well, I feel the ground. I feel the cold floor. If you're in the bathroom, I feel the cold tile floor. And that's it. And that's less than 1 minute. And when you do this every day, you'll get more descriptive. You'll start to notice some things. And again, if feet is not going to be an option, it's going to be your elbow or your face. And right now, if you notice what your face is doing, notice if it's tense. Notice how you just change your face once I point out your face. I know this happens to me. I stopped talking and I lost my words because I was checking back in with my body. And then you can start to describe it a little bit each day. And start where you can start. If it's the first thing in the morning and you're getting ready and you're about to brush your teeth, just feel your feet right there on the ground. If you're having coffee and you have 1 second, feel your feet on the ground and describe whatever it is. Describe that you don't like the scratchy socks. The shoes are feeling tight. They're pinching. Your little toe is pinching into your other toe. Notice some of those things and you will get better. So as you do this, and I suggest keep at it, even though it's like 7 days and I'm like, okay, the only thing I notice is that my feet are cold. That is really good because your brain is getting in tune with your body. Even if after 5 days you're like, oh, I feel like my brain is cold. My brain is cold, or my feet is cold. My feet are cold. My feet are cold. If it feels like it's getting stuck, then just try describing the big toe. What does the big toe feel like? Does it feel light or heavy? Do you feel like the weight's on it? And start to break it down. What does the toe feel like? What does the heel feel like? What does my arch feel like? Is there kind of a pain in my arch when I'm walking? Is there no pain? And so that dissecting kind of every single part of that sensation that you have in your foot or elbow or face will be a way that your brain starts to free itself from all of the other things that are in your head that you might not even be aware of, but that are causing kind of this buzz and this white noise, is constant chatter. And sometimes you block it out. I block it out. I pick up my phone and go on social media. And it's a way to get out of it. And once you start doing this and describing it, all of a sudden things will start to come up. And you will start to feel other sensations. Maybe it'll start to come up your body. Maybe you'll notice something in your stomach. Maybe you'll notice something in your chest. As you practice it, things will start to open up. And when this happens is you can take some time and notice more of what is happening in other parts of your body. Or maybe there's nothing else going on. Maybe it is only your feet. Maybe you notice just a little thing in your stomach. Maybe it's feeling a little hungry. All of that is part of feeling. It's not like this big thing. I think sometimes we make a big deal out of it, like, oh, I need to feel my feelings. I need to go do 30 minutes of yoga. Although that is great because it gives you that space. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes of yoga every day. It needs to be, I feel my feet when I wake up in the morning and I go and I'm about to brush my teeth. That's it. You do this every day. Notice sensations. More sensations in your body will come up. Keep that connection going. Get it going. You'll start to notice more. And then when you wake up, all of a sudden you will notice you'll notice the whole thing. You'll notice, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure in my chest. I'm feeling a little nauseous in my stomach. Nauseous can be one of those things that is often associated with having an emotion. And as you do this, as you give yourself this minute, this 2 minutes, and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, you'll find yourself checking back in with your body probably more than once. And in this routine that you've established, something will happen. Something will come to your mind. And it'll be the thought. It'll be something that you were not aware of that you'd been thinking, and it'll open up because you're connecting back with your body and that vibration is passing through. It really makes sense. It all of a sudden clarifies into your head, and there's space for you to see what it is that you're thinking about something, or what is it that the situation that you maybe it's anxiety that you're worried about will come up for you. And that comes through practicing by checking with your body to release all of that chatter in your mind that you might not be aware of as you go about your day. So in order to feel, take 1 minute. It's going to be less than 1 minute in the beginning. Pick the same time every day if you can, and notice your feet, elbow or face, and describe it. And then go down to the toe, the arch, the sole, and describe that. And allow the rest of it to naturally come up. The other sensations that you might be feeling in your stomach, in your chest, in your arms, in your thighs, all of that. That's all I have for you this week. I'll check back with you next.
Thanks for listening. Listen for a new episode next Tuesday by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Bye for now.